Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World. Today I would like to give you 5 tips for new players on the new installment of the Anno series 2205. So this game is quite different from its predecessors and some of the in-game mechanics are not necessarily well explained. So I thought I would make a video containing 5 tips in order to explain these to you. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is be very careful about the placement of your logistics centers. So logistics is not just a stat as the UI would make you believe. It actually depends on how far away your factories are from your logistics center. For example, here I've got a center that provides me plus 25 logistics. However, this here fruit plantation cost me 1 logistics, while this here cost me 4. And that's because this one is further away from this logistics center. If I take a fruit farm, you can actually see that, as you can see the truck symbol, and if I move further away, now it would cost me 2 logistics, now it would cost me 3, and now it would cost me 4. So the further away you build your buildings, the more logistics you are going to use up. So don't just build your logistics center in like a clump, but spread them out through your colony in order to minimize the distance that has to be traveled by your trucks, and thus minimize the amount of logistics you use. Tip number 2 is residential complexes seem to be more efficient than normal residences. So residential complexes you can build here with this icon with the 3 people on it, and it's basically a 4x4 normal complex. The normal complex houses, or the normal residence houses 5 employees, while the complex houses 20, so that's 4 times as much. So that all makes sense. However, there's already one difference in building them, in that normal residences you can only build 2 wide and then you already need a road, otherwise this other one is not connected to a road. With residential complexes you actually can also build 2 wide, but that means you're actually building 4 wide, right? And then you only have to build a road. So per person you're housing, you need less road, making your space use a little bit more efficient. Furthermore, the build cost of these ones is not 4 times as much. The build cost of a normal residence is 1 biopolymer, but the build cost of a residential complex is 2 biopolymer and 1 constructor bot. So the cost is a bit different, but it's not necessarily 4 times as much. Then the upgrade costs are also different. So 1 residence I upgrade with 2 biopolymers. So if I time that, if I do that times 4, I basically need 8 biopolymers to upgrade this amount of residences. If I want to upgrade these ones, I only need 4 biopolymers, but I need 2 constructor bots. So the upgrade cost is a little bit different. For these, I need for the tier 2 building, I need 6 biopolymers, 4 super alloys, and 3 constructor bots. But for this one, I need 3 biopolymers, 2 super alloys, and 1 constructor bot. So again, if I do this times 4, I actually need more resources to upgrade the normal residences. Again, making the residence complexes more efficient. There is a small difference in the revenue they seem to generate. If you hover over the satisfaction, then you can see here that they have 5 inhabitants, 5 workforce, and 14 revenue. This one, the complex, has 20 inhabitants, 20 workforce, which is basically just 4 times the normal residence, right? But the revenue is 59. Here, the revenue was 14, and 14 times 4 is 56. So this one generated 59, while this one generates 56. So this one even seems to be generating a bit more revenue. This is also the case with the second tier. For example, this one is generating 178 revenue, while this one is generating 44 times 4 is 172 revenue. So in all cases, the residential complexes seem to be much more efficient than the normal residences. However, I can't seem to find out how much exactly they use of each good that they use. Maybe they use a bit more than the normal residences, but I can't seem to figure that out. However, as far as I can see now, residential complexes are basically always better to build than normal complexes, than normal residences, unless you have a limited amount of space and you can only fit in a normal residence. Tip number 3 is be aware of some of the advanced options this game offers to you. For example, in the previous Annos, whenever you built a building wrong, you had to destroy it and build it somewhere else. In this Anno, you can actually move them around. So for example, I have this fruit plantation that's not being very efficient as it costs me a lot of logistics, as I told you in a previous tip. You can just move it by using here either this hand tool or just pressing M for move. and then you can just drag it around. And this doesn't seem to cost you anything, and it can really increase well, the efficiency of your city. Furthermore, let's say I want to build another food plantation. I can use the eyedropper tool, the copy tool. You can access that also by pressing C and then clicking on a building, and then you can immediately click this building instead of going through your buildings and trying to find where it is. Then there are some more advanced options as well. If you go to options, here under gameplay, you can enable right click menu. And this was also in the previous Annos, and it's quite nice. If you've enabled that, you can just right click anywhere, and then you get access to a quick menu, basically allowing you access to the most used functions. For example, the move tool here, but also building streets, residences, as well as logistic complexes. Which basically makes the game a whole lot quicker to play. Lastly, you can press the plus sign to speed up the game. As you can see here, for example, these things are moving here, and if I hold plus, everything goes faster. You can also make it go slower by pressing minus, which I don't know exactly why I would want to do that, but with plus you can make time more pass more quickly if you're just waiting for a couple of resources or for some money. So yeah, all these things together make the game much more quicker to play, and to me much more fun. Tip number 4 is provision buildings, such as here this security department and infodrome. They don't have a radius like in the previous Anno games. However, they do have a maximum amount that they can supply. So for example, here all these people here need information, and I've built this infodrome here to provide that to them. However, if I move the infodrome away to, for example, here, then you can see the road is highlighted. So basically it supplies information to everything connected to the road, but it doesn't matter how far away it is. So as you can see here, they are still very much happy with the information they have. Of course, they do have a limited amount of information that they can supply, so you do need to possibly build some more of these buildings. For example, here in this city, these people don't have enough information at the moment. So if I would build a infodrome, which I can copy, for example, from this one, and I can build it anywhere, let's say I just build it here, then you can see that they still have their information provided. So yeah, it works differently from the Anno series in that it doesn't have a radius, it just provides a certain amount of information to anything connected by the same road, which would probably be your entire island. And lastly, tip number 5, if you're doing combat missions, you're not stuck with the rewards that the mission itself gives you. For example, this one here would give me 15 petrochemicals as well as 30 combat experience. However, if you look here at the minimap, you can see here these arrows. If you click on them, you can get another mission. For example, use the repair drone 4 times. If I do that during this mission, I also get some graphene and extra combat experience. There's another mission here that needs me to collect some barrels, which would give me some iridium and more combat experience as well. Here I would get some petrochemicals and more combat experience. So basically, by doing these missions during another mission, I can get more resources than I would originally get. Of course, I would have to do some extra things to get them, but they also increase my rewards. So these were the 5 tips for new players for the Anno 2205. I hope you found the video useful, and see you next time.